Hello, guys, and welcome back to our Dark Souls 3 walkthrough for Elden Ring players. And we're going to go ahead and get started right where we left off last time. I have not even made my way back to Firelink Shrine to upgrade my character. From this location, you really have two choices. You can either head to Farron Keep, where we last left off, or we can continue down to Cathedral of the Deep. In this instance, I like to go Cathedral of the Deep first. I think it helps us level up a little faster. Up ahead, you're going to see one of those saw enemies. But before we head off to him, we're going to go down below and grab two crystal lizards. There's the first one. And the second one is right around the corner. There's number two. From this lowered position, you can either head off to the Evangelist, which is up ahead, but the game is really kind of baiting you so that a bunch of enemies attack you at the same time. So I prefer to take this elevated route and fight off this sawed enemy. Now, there's really two of these enemies. One of them is right here in front of us. The second one is lying in wait over to our left. And you want to kind of separate these enemies so that they don't attack you at the same time. So let's go ahead and fight this first one over in this location. There is the first one. And there is the second one. After defeating both of these enemies, we're going to go back into this lowered position and get an easy backstab on that Evangelist. Now, it's easy to miss this backstab, so if you miss it, don't worry. You could just work them down carefully. There's that backstab. Easy peasy. And over here, we're going to find the Herald's Armor. This is actually a pretty decent armor set. It's a little lighter than the current armor I have on. And I especially like how it looks on female characters because it has less of the shoulder pads. And it looks less wide. But I like the way that the cape flutters in the back. But since we don't have a female character, I'm going to stick to the knight's armor for now. And we're going to continue forward. If you're running low on Estus shards, don't worry, the bonfire is right up ahead. And from here, there's going to be two more NPCs. The first NPC is going to be right behind this tree, and he's going to be guarding the Paladin's Ashes. We're going to be using the Paladin's Ashes later on to upgrade our Firelink Shrine Merchant to get an item that we're going to need later on. He's not too hard, just know that he has some daggers that he can use at range. He just riposted me. There is the first NPC. Go ahead and rest at the bonfire if you think you need it before you face the next one. The next NPC here drops the shield that he's using. It's a small shield, but it has pretty decent stats for a small shield. In addition, it has the weapon skill ability, so you could use your right-hand weapon skill. Ouch. And there's the second NPC. Alright, from here we can go up the stairs, but before we do that, we're gonna go pick up a shield that's in this hired area here. Now the Crest shields, you're gonna find several versions of the Crest shield. This Crest shield specializes in blocking dark damage. And you're going to find that we're going to pick up several different other Crest shields, and they all specialize in blocking different elemental attacks. It's a pretty decent shield, but for right now I'm going to stick to the Grass Crest shield because it buffs our stamina. From here we're going to head up the stairs, and you're gonna find that this is one of those instances where the game is kind of luring you into a difficult area. If we switch to our ranged weapon, you can see that there's gonna be several dogs laid out for us in wait here. There's another one behind this bush, and a few more beyond this rock here. In addition to the dogs, there's some archers that are kind of hard to get to. And they're going to be providing support for those dogs. One strategy to get through this area is to shoot the dogs and lure them at you one by one. But I prefer to use the trenches that are over here to the left and get some cover from the arrows as well as some of the dogs. And from these trenches, we can work most of these enemies behind and take them out a lot easier. Alright, we're gonna grab this item here. You really don't have to kill the rest of the dogs. There's nothing else in this area. But we're gonna go ahead and kill them anyways. Alright. And you could see that the original path was going to be pretty hard with all those dogs and arrows flying at you. From here, we're going to start getting into a different area called the Cathedral of the Deep. And you're going to encounter this suicide enemy. Once that enemy notices you, he's going to ignite himself and he's going to charge at you, and he'll blow up once he gets close enough. So before he could do that, I like to run at him and take him out before he has a chance. Alright, from this area, we're going to go into the main Cathedral of the Deep bonfire. But before we go through the door, I wanted to warn you that there is an NPC called Slave Knight Gale. And he's going to invite you to the painted world of Ariandel, which is the DLC area in Dark Souls 3. And just in case you were wondering, we will be covering the DLC areas, but it's a little too early to go through them. The recommended level to start the DLC is at level 80, and we're a little too green for that right now. So we're not going to talk to him immediately, but we are going to stoke the bonfire to grab that checkpoint.
Merciful goddess, mother of the forlorn, who have no place to call their own, please bear witness to our resolve. Fire for Ariandel. Fire for Ariandel. And the ash to kindle flame.
He's a pretty cool NPC. I love his voice actor. And we'll get to him later, but he plays a major role in the DLC and the overall story of Dark Souls. Go ahead and stoke this fire. And this bonfire is actually pretty interesting. It has two shortcuts that we are going to unlock later on. The first one to the right, and another one to the left. In addition to that, there is a notched whip here. And from here, we're actually going to make our way back to Firelink Shrine to finally take down that dragon that we left behind in Lothric Highwall. And I'll explain why we waited this long to take down that dragon. Once you make your way back to Firelink Shrine, come over to the Shrine Hindmaiden and turn in those Paladin ashes that we perked up earlier.
How gracious, let Iona.
Once you turn them in, you'll be able to purchase an item called the Undead Hunter Charm. And what this really does is it prevents hunters from healing themselves when you're battling them, and that works both in PvP and when you're fighting NPCs that have Estus shards. I would recommend buying around 20 to 30. After you've purchased the Undead Hunter Charms, we're gonna come over here to Grey Rat, and I recommend purchasing the large arrows from him.
And in one piece.
If you don't have a bow that you're using right now, I would buy the short bow. It's a good bow if you have low dexterity. If you already have the long bow and you have the ability to wield it, go ahead and just equip the long bow. In addition to the bow, I would also buy at least 100 large arrows. After you've purchased arrows from Grey Rat, I would come over here to Ludleth, and I would turn in the Crystal Sage's soul for the Crystal Sage's Rapier.
Aha, thou returned, and a fine day it is. So, happened upon any...
And the reason that I would buy this Crystal Sage's Rapier is because it has a hidden perk that increases your item recovery. Or item discovery, I'm sorry. And we're going to be needing that for just a second after we defeat the dragon that we left behind. Go ahead and purchase it even if you don't have the dexterity or the stats required to wield it. It works similar to the Grass Crest shield, where you don't necessarily have to use it. You could just equip it on your person and it would still give you the item discovery needed.
Treat the Firekeeper not with discourtesy.
After you purchase the Rapier from him, we're gonna go make our way over here to Leonard, and he's gonna have some new dialogue for us.
Well, hasn't it been some time? I'm Leonard, the Ringfinger. Remember me? I slipped you those red eyes some time ago. You're making quite an effort of it, so I thought you might like to know. If you yearn for a proper red-eye orb, one that is uncracked, then kill the Dark Wraith, survivor of the land swallowed by darkness. He has been a prisoner for many ages in the deepest cell in all Lothric.
He gives us a brand new key, and we're gonna go ahead and use that to unlock a cell that we left behind at Lothric Highwall. From here, we're gonna travel to Tower on the Wall. From this location, we're gonna work our way back down to the area where we discovered Grey Rat. Ouch. We're gonna go ahead and take care of these enemies. And one more down below us. Now, the area in which we discovered Grey Rat is in this direction, but we're actually going to go behind it to this locked door we left behind. And we're going to use that key that Leonhard left us to open this. Down below, we're gonna find a Dark Wraith enemy. He's pretty scary looking. This enemy can potentially drop the weapon and armor that he's using, which are pretty good as well. And if you like the aesthetic to those Dark Wraiths, you could farm this guy a few times. The best way to approach him is probably to start off with a backstab. And he's not too hard. He drops the red eye orb, and what that does is up until this point we have been able to invade other players by using a cracked red eye orb, which gets spent every time we use one. But in essence, the red eye orb is exactly the same as the cracked red eye orb, except that it doesn't get spent. You could use it an infinite amount of times. So, if you're into the whole online PvP scene, that's a perfect item for you. Now, from here, we're gonna go ahead and fight the dragon that we left behind. So, if you need to, go ahead and equip the bow of your choosing, along with any arrows you have. You can also use a crossbow if you want to, or if you need to, but I recommend using the bow only because it's faster and you don't have to reload it every time. Alright, so we're gonna make our way back up to the top. Got a good parry on him. And some Lothric Night Gauntlets. Go ahead and kill all these enemies, but be careful, because if you go too far down, he will, the dragon will spit fire at you. Alright. Now from here, I find that the best place to take down this dragon is right here. It provides the perfect cover and the perfect range for your bow. As you can see, the fire doesn't reach me at this location. And all you're gonna do is shoot arrows at his arm there. If you have the longbow, you might get a little better range. But just take your time. And as you can see, you don't actually kill the dragon. He just flies away, but he leaves you a large Titanite shard. And we can now pick up all of the items that he left behind. There's a club, a few embers, and over here you're gonna find a claymore. In addition, you're gonna be able to access this area that you were unable to access before. Inside of this area, you're gonna find your first mimic. I'm actually quite surprised that they didn't have any mimics in Elden Ring, and I will show you exactly what that enemy is. But before we do that, we want to open up this shortcut. We can do that just by unlocking this gate. That way, if we die, we can make our way down here right from the bonfire. Alright, so this mimic is actually posing as a chest. You'll be able to recognize all the mimics in this game in the way that the chain is laying. Normally, the chain is laying in a hook pattern. But here, you'll see that it's actually not a hook pattern. It's laying a little bit differently. It's a subtle change, but you want to farm this enemy a few times. And you can farm this enemy using the Undead Hunter Charm. The reason that you want to farm this enemy is because he drops a helmet. That helmet increases your item discovery. Additionally, you can equip the Crystal Sage's Rapier to increase your chances of him dropping the helmet. So, we are going to go ahead and wake him up and then make him fall back asleep by using that Undead Hunter Charm. Every time this enemy falls asleep, he has the potential to drop the helmet that we're looking for. That is why it's pretty easy to farm him a couple times in a single run. There you go. He's back asleep. The first time that you make him fall asleep, he is going to drop the item that he is holding. but you have to wake him up every time for him to be able to drop the helmet. Unfortunately, you can only farm him 5 times in a single run because you can only hold 5 undead hunter charms, and then you have to rest at a bonfire to replenish your supply of undead hunter charms. This might take a little while, so I will see you back once we have the helmet. And here it is, the symbol of avarice. Once you've acquired it, you could either kill this enemy or you could leave him. You can either kill this enemy or leave him. Just make sure that you collect the symbol of avarice. And it's really up to RNG. I made you purchase at least 20 to 30 undead hunter charms. But those hunter charms are going to come in handy later on every time that we meet one of these mimics. And it's going to make for an easier kill because sometimes they could be a little hard to kill. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you what this item does. The crystal rapier, you'll see, increases my item discovery by 50 points. You see how right now my item discovery is at 107. By equipping the crystal rapier, you will get 157. And by equipping the symbol of avarice, I will be increasing my item discovery by 100. So I will have 257. Now, a word of warning. Once you equip the symbol of avarice, your HP is going to continually decrease. Now, normally this isn't a problem, but just be aware that it is decreasing, and you should only equip it when you're ready to farm an enemy. And the only reason that we got both of these items is so that you could farm any items that you want from enemies, or that could potentially drop their armor or their weapons. Like, for instance, the Lothric Knights, or that Dark Knight that we found in the Road of Sacrifice, or any other enemies that you're interested in weapons. After we've completed everything up until this point, we are going to make our way into the painted world of Ariandel. Now, I know I said that this is a late game area, but the reason that we're going to go in here so early is to pick up an item that I find very useful, especially in early game. And that item is a shield that regenerates our health slowly.
Wait, you've the same scent as that woman. Then you must be an ashen one. You must be. Oh, you don't know how long I've searched. Oh. Oh, don't mind me. Didn't mean to fall apart. Now, Ashen One, I have a kindness to ask of you. My lady lives in the cold land of Ariandel. I need you to show her flame. A proper flame that will burn the rot away. If you truly are ash, then it must be fire that you seek. Ah, thank you. They of ash never fail. Just a moment, then. The painting of Ariandel. Well, rotted scrap of it, that is. Go on. Take it. Touch it. And then the ashes were too.
Alright, like I mentioned before, the Painted World of Ariandel is recommended at level 80. But we're not actually going to fight any enemies here. We're just going to grab a shield and get out of here. We'll cover most of this other content in future videos. So I'm not going to talk to any NPCs until a later date. The only thing I'm going to do is stoke this bonfire. And run over to the item that I want to grab. Like I said before, try not to engage any of these enemies. Be careful with these wolves. They're actually a lot faster than the dogs are in the other areas. And they will try to get in front of you and cut you off as you run. In addition, this giant wolf comes out from the top of the cliff. Just dodge him and work your way to this new area here. In this new area, I like to take these hidden paths here behind all of these arches. And the reason is because there's archers up in this tower that are gonna try to shoot you as you get near it. Now, there is an enemy inside of this tower that is gonna initially try to fight you. Just roll around him and try to avoid him and get into the stairwell below. Once you make it to this ladder here, you're home free. At the top of this ladder, you're gonna find another one of those big guys. And really what you want to do is you just want to toss him out of the window. So we're gonna go ahead and kick him out really quick. There we go. Easy kill. And those are all the enemies you're gonna fight here. Now we're just gonna work our way up the tower, where we are gonna find a few items. The first item we're gonna find is a large soul of a weary warrior. Some captain's ashes that we could turn into our shrine handmaiden. And then we could do a little platforming here and drop down. And here you will find the shield that I'm looking for. Never mind, that's the axe. If we do a little more platforming, you can try and grab that crystal lizard, but if you don't get it, don't worry about it. We'll come back to this area later. Once you make it down to this platform, you will find the shield that I was looking for. This is actually a really good shield. I like it all the way to endgame. I like the stats that it currently has. It's got pretty decent elemental ability blocks. And it has the weapon skill ability. So you could use the weapon skill from your right hand weapon instead of parrying. In addition to that, it regenerates your HP slowly, which makes a big difference in this game, especially in the earlier levels. Later on, when you have a ton of health, it's not so bad. It doesn't work as well, but as you can see, it is slowly regenerating my health. From this area here, we're pretty much done. We're gonna go ahead and go back to the Shrine Bonfire. Alright guys, we're gonna end it here today. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and level up your character as best as you can. Level up your weapon. Level up the shield if you like. Level up your character. And don't forget to use your Estus shards to increase the amount of Estus flasks that you have. And don't forget to burn your undead bone shards here at the bonfire to increase the amount of health you get back from your Estus flask. With that being said, thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next time.